Today we're going to cover sine law. Sine law is used in a triangle that is not a right angle triangle, so where our trig ratios will not work. It's an oblique triangle, so the trig ratios can't be used. Again, it's a relationship between opposite sides and angles. I'm going to write up our equation. The equations or the formulas that you use just state that the opposite side, the ratio of the opposite side and angles are equal to the other. So let's write it out. Side A over sine of angle A equals side B over sine of angle B, which also equals or could equal sine of angle C. Obviously, to solve for this, you will only be using any two pairs of these, but we'll need to fill in 3 of the 4 in order to work with it. So we're going to be using, we can use this one because we have an opposite and corresponding an angle and a corresponding side. In this particular triangle that we're going to be working with, we have side A corresponding to side of angle of 75. There's not a value in both of those, so we can't use that. We have angle of 35, corresponding side is 12.5 centimeters, so we have a goal there, a set, a corresponding. Angle B and side B, we have no values at all. So we'll have to use this angle, angle A at 75 degrees, and then the corresponding angle and side, angle C, for our calculations to work this through. Now that we know what we're going to be using, we have to use these two. Let's write up our equation and then put in our substitution. So we're going to use side C over sine of angle C, and that will equal side A over sine of angle A. And we're solving for side A. Okay, let's put in our substitution. Side C is 12.5 centimeters. Angle C is 35 degrees, and that will equal side A, which is our unknown, and then sine of angle 75. And as we know from previous years, in order to solve a ratio, we do cross multiplication and then isolate our variable. When we're working with sine law, the side value has to come before the angle. So to write this up correctly, we would put 12.5 sine 75 equals sine 35 times A. We're trying to isolate the side A, so we divide by sine 35, and we'll do the same here. And we now have side A equals 12.5 sine 75 divided by sine 35. We need to remember when entering this into our TI-83 calculator that because we have 2 items in our numerator, we have to bracket our numerator and dividing by the denominator. Okay, I'll show you how to input that into your calculator. Okay, this is how you enter the equation, the sine law, into your calculator. We have to bracket the numerator because there's more than one item in it, so we go 12.5 sine 75, then we end the bracket, divided, and then we have our denominator sine 35. Enter, and there we have the unrounded answer. Alright, so we have 21.05050358. We're going to round to the hundredth, and let's put that value on our diagram, 21.05, and units of measure, centimeters. Alright, so we've got 2 values left to solve until our triangle is solved. Okay, we're left with angle and side B. In order to solve for side B, we need to have angle B first. So in order to do that, we're going to show our work. Angle B, the property that all angles add up to 180 holds. So for angle B, 180 degrees, subtract 75 plus 35 70. So we'll add that onto our diagram just to make things clear. And we have just side B left. And again, we're going to use, so we have to use sine ratio, the sine law to do it. Again, we're going to use 12.5 or 12.5 centimeters and angle 35. We could use these two or these two at this point because we have two sets of corresponding sides. However, my strategy, personal, is I always pick the one that was originally given, just in case I made a keystroke error or some error in solving for this, then I know my next answer will be wrong. So if I use this one, less room for error. All right, let's write up the equation. So we're going to use A and A, side A over, no, we aren't going to use A and A. We decided we're going to use C and C. Side C over sine the angle C equals side B over sine B. Substitution. Side B or side C is 12.5. Sine of angle C is sine 35. That equals B is our unknown, and sine of 70 degrees. All right, let's do a cross multiplication. 12.5 sine 70 equals sine 35 over, oops, not over, times B, divide by sine 35, divide by sine 35. And again, let's enter it into our calculator. Side B in our calculator, again, we have to bracket our numerator. So 12.5 sine 70, end bracket, divided by sine 35, enter, and there we have our unrounded side B. Okay, so we get 20.478801111. Again, we're going to round it to the hundredths. So we get 20, oh, we can put that here too, I guess. 20, we'll put the unrounded here. And then we're going to round it to the hundredth for our diagram, 20.48 centimeters. Okay, at this point, there's one more thing you need to do before you consider your question complete. You need to do a quick mental check. Does this make sense? Our biggest angle is 75 degrees. Its corresponding side should be our biggest side. And 75, 21 is our biggest side. This one is 70 degrees. It's our second one. Our smallest angle is corresponding to the smallest side. So that looks good. You should also be looking at how close they are together. These angles are very, very close. They're not separated by 5 degrees out of your 360. So these two should be fairly close as well. So to make sure you do your mental check, does this make sense? And then we have completed this question correctly.